Welcome to MGoBucks. We are here on a Wednesday, and we are going to love previewing Illinois and Michigan and the Ohio State Buckeyes versus who the heck are they playing? I
I
can't
don't know.
remember.
I'm already getting tired thinking
Some
about
team
it.
that's
I'm
red
already
that's
still
named
Can we
after a
just
turtle.
I'm already
can we
getting
just
bored
skip
of
this
talking
week and
about
go to the
this.
next week?
We would all like to skip this week and go to the next week, but they are playing the Maryland Terrapins. Is it the Terrapins? Is that the full
I think
name?
the terrible pins.
Okay. Thankfully, Diego's back with us. I apologize profusely to the viewers. I tried to keep this from happening to talk about the Maryland Terrapins again within a 2-week period, but it looks like that's going to happen. I'm also here with Jason Johannes.
What's up, Nate?
You are the co-host of the, let me see if I get this right.
All right.
Let me see. So it's all things.
It's in the
All the
Michigan
things.
color
All the
scheme.
things.
All things blues
Yep,
and Southern rock.
that's right.
That is the podcast.
Yes,
That's pretty awesome. And you've actually interviewed some pretty big rock stars too.
we have. We
Yeah.
focus a lot on lesser known and newer artists, but we have had some legends in the game. Legends in the rock world, I guess. On that, yes.
Yeah, so definitely, yeah. If anyone's into that, love rock and roll music, check out All Things Blues and Southern Rock, and you won't regret that. Someday
Yeah, and
you
if you
guys
hate
might you guys
listen,
might even get a YouTube channel. Like get
we
on
do
TV.
have a YouTube channel.
You
We don't
do.
post a lot of stuff on there, but I will say to everybody who's watching, if you hate my picks or whatever I have to say, just know I'm a music host and not a sports host.
Yeah, don't take it out on both channels. Exactly. And Matt the Buckeye is here. Definitely cohort in pain. We are definitely looking forward to. Wish we could skip this weekend for sure, because the only thing that could happen this weekend is if Michigan and Ohio State players could get injured. I mean, seriously, that's the only thing that can happen this week. Wish we could skip it, but we can't. But Diego, let me go to you. What are you thinking about this game coming up? Like, what do you think you're going to be showing the Buckeyes?
I resent the fact that you said that the only thing that can happen is injuries. Okay, more than that can happen.
More than that can happen.
Yes. Well, no, in all honesty, I think it's going to be a bloodbath. After the last 2 weeks, Maryland got trounced by Wisconsin in bad weather. And I said, well, it was at Wisconsin, bad weather, 23-10. Maybe it was just, a bad game. And then Penn State came along again at Penn State. So it was away, but they trounced us 30-0. Talia just either I think it was a combination of the line not giving him time, but also he looked like a deer in the headlights. He was just holding the ball too long. I don't know what's wrong with him. I mean, he was injured. I guess it was prior to the Northwestern game about 3 weeks ago. So he hasn't been the same since he's been back. So maybe it's the injury. But yeah, we're looking pretty terrible. And I really wish I could talk smack today, but there's really nothing I can say that would be even remotely, an honest assessment that would sound like we could win, because I just don't see any way that we could win this game. I'm just hoping we actually put up some points and don't get the goose egg like we did against Penn State. It's really unfortunate. I mean, we're missing one lineman. And ever since then, we've also looked really weird, really bad. So I don't know if it's a combination of the line, the one player who's the center, who's been rotated to guard, I think, and then the center is now this true freshman who can't even snap the ball, and then Talia doesn't look the same. So it's pretty bad.
Well, I thought that at the beginning of the season anyway, with the NFL players you have at receiver, I think Talia I don't know if he's an NFL quarterback, but he's definitely a talented college quarterback. I thought that this was going to be a game I was going to be looking forward to, because it would actually test the Buckeye secondary. I still think that they can. I mean, I think that the Buckeyes might be walking into this during an away game. I don't know what the weather's going to look like, Matt.
45 degrees. It's going to be a chilly, but I think
I don't think it's
going to
rain. That's football weather. That's not bad.
Yeah. It's not anything insane. Let's put it that way. I don't think it's going to rain or anything. So
Can
should be
Maryland
fun.
run the ball at all? Well, they should be passing.
They do have a running back that has, I think, over 6 yards a carry and about 750 yards.
815 yards and 7 touchdowns.
So that's kind of the weakness for Ohio State, isn't it? At least on the defensive side, typically the run defense or the line play.
It has been in the last few years. They've cleaned that up a little bit. But, Michigan and Ohio State, neither team has really played anyone with a really great offense.
Yeah.
We just don't have those in the Big Ten. That's why I was thinking Maryland would be a really good game to actually get a gauge on Ohio State's defense because they could actually put some pressure on them. Diego does not look like he has much confidence in his team because they lost to Wisconsin, which is completely understandable. My team lost to Wisconsin. I'm
depressed just by looking at Diego. He's
I know he's got a Charlie Brown look to him.
He
like
does.
He's kind of like walking, sad walk.
Well, you guys only lost by a touchdown against Michigan, and that was with a bad call. So
yeah, I know we were a different team back then, though. And that's just the reality. After Penn State, 30-0.
But what was the difference, Diego, between those two games, between Penn State and Michigan? How many players were changed?
Well, I mean, the only injuries. Okay, we had
your center. You said,
yeah, center, and we had 3 linebackers who were out until the Wisconsin game. So maybe they're playing kind of injured. But that's obviously defense. The offense is really the problem, believe it or not. Even though the offense going into the Northwestern game a few weeks ago was the bright spot, and the defense was the part that was, the side of the ball that was not, on the same level by any stretch as compared to the offense. So now I'd say the offense is significantly worse than the defense, and that's saying something. I don't know. I can't pinpoint what it would be.
Why are they worse on offense? Are they players missing, scheme, just lack of execution?
Well, I told you, we have a true freshman playing at center.
Right.
He's horrific. He's horrific. And that's obviously some of the problem. But I think Talia, his injury, he's not fully recovered.
Okay.
They're not going to say that, but it's got to be. I mean, the guy is not. He doesn't look quite as mobile. And he looks like he's really staring at the pass rush and not getting the ball off. And the only other thing it could be would be that the receivers aren't getting open. And that would be surprising considering, you have a Florida transfer, Copeland, who was, a top probably 60 recruit in the country overall. Year he came out, had a pretty good season at Florida last year's, 600, 700 yards, something like that. We have our top guy who's a 5-star recruit. He's playing. Now, our best receiver last year, he blew out his leg in the Iowa game, and he's never been the same. I mean,
I was there for that.
Yeah. So Demas is not Demas anymore. So
he was really good last year. He hasn't done anything this year.
Demas is totally irrelevant right now. So it's really just Rakim Jarrett, the 5-star, and Copeland, the transfer from Florida. And then we got Jay-Sean Jones back after he blew out 3 knees. I guess it was ACLs. Yeah, 3 ACLs, or at least 2 ACLs on one leg and 1 ACL on another leg. He's back this year. He's playing pretty well. So we have him. So we should have decent wide receivers. But
you know what? I don't think anybody knows this much about the depth of the Maryland team. Not even the coaches that Diego knows. It's really kind of
really
sad.
I know a decent amount. But when you start talking about the defense, I probably only know the 2 deep at most.
Yeah.
The other thing too, you guys lost or got shut out by Penn State. They weren't even with Joey Porter Jr., their top defensive player, and they still shut you out. So something is really wrong.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I will say, and this is something I've been writing on every message board every Maryland message board, is Mike Loxley's the most overrated recruiter in the country. He playing a true freshman who can't snap the ball proves that you're not recruiting. If that's your second string, or actually your next lineman up, basically at any position, I'm assuming they would have put him in at tackle if they had to.
Well, Mike Loxley, he's great with the transfer portal, though.
I wouldn't say great.
I would say they live by that, wouldn't they? I mean, they're not quite like Michigan State, but
I wouldn't say great. We had 6 transfers that were, most of whom were pretty good. but I think we had holes that he did not address in the transfer portal. I would say he's pretty good in the transfer portal. And
didn't you guys lose a lot last year from the transfer portal?
Oh, yeah, we lost 22 players, but I would say 22, 23 players, but I would say maybe 10 to 15 were players we didn't want. But there was definitely some we lost. We lost Chop Robinson to Penn State. We definitely didn't want to lose him. He was a 4-star recruit, roughly top 150, 200 in the overall. And he starts for Penn State. We lost another 5-star linebacker who never played for us because he was injured, but he transferred to UCF. We lost another 4-star linebacker who we beat Michigan out for. Nate and I have had this conversation. He probably
Nate, I'm gonna stop you right here, Diego. Nate, you're probably losing people right now who are watching. This is way too much Maryland. Like Maryland seriously, football? They're here for Michigan and Ohio State stuff, not Maryland.
Yeah,
stuff.
Here's the thing, though.
You guys asked me a question. I'm giving you the answers.
Here's the thing. I truly believe that Maryland's going to play a lot better than you think, Diego. I mean, look at what happened with Northwestern when Ohio State came to town. Look what happened to Penn State when Ohio State came to town. It's going to be their last big game of the year. I honestly think that we're going to see a different Maryland team. We're going to see the Maryland team that maybe played Michigan. And Matt does not look scared. He does not look very scared at all.
To know what
but
Matt
I think
thinks.
he should be a little bit.
Okay, before Matt gives his opinion,
oh my
I'll
God.
just let you know the spread is 27.5.
Yeah.
Well,
it was pretty big with Northwestern too. What do you think, Matt?
What do you have to say?
Well, I think that the only reason that the spread is that low is because we are going to want to get our starters out very quick.
Wow.
Because
hilarious. 27 points is that low.
Wow.
He was insulted by that.
What point do the starters get pulled? Halftime? We think a third quarter? What do you think?
I think the starters are going to be out by after the first drive of the third quarter.
Okay.
All right,
now, the only thing I will say, Maryland, I think that the only thing that I would be even a little bit worried about is they do have a really good running back. So it'll be a good.
Does Diego know that
he disappeared like Maryland's hopes, like
hopes and dreams?
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have a little drink to drown my sorrows.
So Matt, is there anything that you think this Saturday Ohio State will work on or needs to work on that'll help with them playing against Maryland?
You mean Michigan?
No, this Saturday. Is there anything they get to work on or they'll do that can help them get ready for Michigan? How's that?
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. I mean, really, I think the only thing that we need to work on is getting our guys healthy. I mean, that's, not getting any major injuries here. And then, we have so many people hurt. Like we have like 6 running backs that are hurt. We have, DBs that are coming back that have been hurt. We have our 2 offensive linemen that are hurt. I can't even remember the last season we've had this many injuries. So it's just a matter of not getting any more injuries and then getting some of the other guys back healthy. So, but as far as everything else, like.
But you're not really seeing like an opportunity to the defense to try a little different scheme or the offense to try a different style of plays or.
I don't think that they need to really work on anything. I think they just need to get through,
just execute what they do,
get a win, and get the starters out as quick as possible.
Here's what I think is going to be fascinating about both those games. It's going to be about what Ryan Day and Jim Harbaugh are trying to show Ohio State for the next week. It's going to be interesting to see what plays they run, what little wrinkles they throw in just to make the other team have to practice for. Or, what they do. Like last year, Michigan played Maryland for their last game right before Ohio State, and they threw the ball a ton to the running back. And so that our running back actually had 170 yards receiving that game.
Well, Nate, is there anything that Ohio State could do or should do that would make an impact on how Michigan goes into the game next week? Run up the score, do something different that's going to change what Harbaugh has those guys ready to do.
Good question, and I'm looking to last year a little bit to see what happened. But they played Michigan State the game right before they went to play Michigan, and they unleashed hell on Michigan State. If you remember that, they just threw points like it was insane. I think that scared the shit out of probably a lot of Michigan fans. I mean, Michigan beat Maryland okay, but I mean, there was not any sign that Michigan is going to put up the kind of rushing numbers against Ohio State that we thought. So it's just really interesting to see what they're going to do. Ryan Day is going to do certain things in this game, run certain plays, and it's going to it's probably going to be all decoy. Everything that he does in that game against Maryland is probably going to be decoy
Just not
for
show
the
their
next
hand.
game.
Yeah.
To make Michigan watch that film and say, oh, they're going to do that, when really they're going to do the opposite.
I will say that they have been a little bit salty since I think the rumor was that remember when Chase Young got in trouble for giving Rose Bowl tickets or something to his girlfriend a couple of years ago, and I don't know if he was ineligible or if he was I know there was some problems with that. And the rumor was that the Maryland head coach was the one who turned him in. So ever since then, we've been,
What a narc.
Hold on. How would the Maryland coach know
a
this?
narc.
Well, I mean, he's from Maryland, right?
Wait, are you talking about Loxley? Who are you talking about? I'm confused.
Yeah, Loxley. So Chase Young.
Loxley turned in Chase Young for doing what exactly with tickets?
He gave tickets to the Rose Bowl to his girlfriend, which was at the time illegal.
Right, but how would Loxley know about it?
I don't remember the details, but that's what the going theory is.
I vaguely remember something about that, but I don't remember it being Loxley. I remember it being another coach, and I don't remember exactly what the details were. But yeah, there's some truth to what you're saying, but I don't think you have the details correct.
Well, I know now anyone giving tickets away wouldn't even make a Twitter post in the days of NIL. That's for sure.
It's finally the land of the free. People can actually fucking make money off their name, image, and likeness. So hallelujah to that. Hallelujah to that.
Yeah, it is like the Wild West right now. Like we had our running back, we had a 4-star running back, Fletcher, just decommitted because he went to visit Florida and Miami the last 2 weeks, and I'm guessing was offered a lot of money because he just decommitted today. So,
I have no problem with it. None.
No, I don't either. I'm just saying that I think
there should be a salary cap, is what you're saying?
No.
First of all, we know what's been happening for years anyway. I mean, Texas A&M, before they were doing NIL deals, they were paying people with oil money.
This is
they just wasn't an NIL deal.
It's a disadvantage to the SEC because they were already doing this. And now the northern schools can actually,
there you go,
because they have the money to do it.
So we should be happy then.
No, we are. Yeah.
Even for competitive balance.
Yeah.
I'm happy for the kids, but I'm also happy for competitive balance. I'm happy because to me, it's fundamental fairness here. If I could make $1 million doing an ad for whatever, I should be able to do it. And no school should be able
Finally,
to stop.
Diego, Rutgers and Nebraska have an even playing field, and I expect big things from them in the future.
Hey, I think over time, NIL will close the gap. I do. I
tend to agree with you. I think it will. Big Ten has a lot of money in their alumni.
Nobody wants to go to Nebraska. Rutgers, you can argue it's in New Jersey, East Coast. Nebraska
might be getting prime
want to go to Nebraska.
Nebraska is not getting prime time. He is going to Georgia Tech, not Nebraska.
All right, you heard it here.
Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Sanders makes $500,000 right now.
Do you know Georgia Tech's one of the top 10 hardest schools to get into in the country?
It's the number one SAT among public schools in the country.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah. It's ridiculous how competitive that school is for a state school.
Too bad they're not competitive in football, which was what we're here to talk about. Nate, we heard enough about Maryland and Ohio State. What is going on with Illinois, Michigan this weekend?
Oh gosh, I even hate to even bring it up because I don't think anything good can happen from that game. Just like the Ohio State and Maryland, I don't think anything good is going to happen from it. Nothing.
Well, you
mean only something bad can happen, like an injury or something that would affect.
That's what happened last week.
Illinois is actually a decent team. I don't know.
They are not
playing Illinois.
They've just lost the last two games.
And a good running back. So
they're not decent. They play in the Big Ten West, which is garbage. They don't play come on.
Yeah,
that running backs,
they're not decent.
Yeah. Statistically, they're decent.
Yeah, and one guy
only because they play against Big Ten West.
Steve Deese said something something pretty smart. He's a Michigan guy on a Michigan podcast on YouTube, and he said basically Illinois is Michigan, but with a lot lesser recruits. That's just that.
What does that even mean?
It's the
Like,
same
so they're
defense,
Michigan,
same
except they don't
offense.
get good players.
Yeah, basically, it's the exact same offensive philosophy.
Oh,
They do
offensive
exactly what they wanted. They have the same goals, offensive philosophy goals, and Michigan's going to beat them because they've just got better players doing the same.
Except for even they pass better than Michigan now.
They might. In the last couple of games, they probably.
I'll throw the same question at Matt that I threw at you, Nate. Is like, is there anything that Michigan could do this week, and that's going to influence what Ohio State does preparing for next week?
Well, if they actually figure out some pass plays that work, I think that's the biggest thing. Like, they should have been working on that all year. Everyone knows they can run and win, but they are going to need to have at least a decent passing attack to be able to win against Ohio State and potentially in the playoffs.
But isn't how Michigan destroyed Ohio State last year kind of the same way they can do it this year with running and being a lot more physical on the line?
The difference between this year and last year is last year we had a horrible defense and people could run or pass on us. It didn't matter. It wasn't just that they had a good running game. It's just that no matter what you wanted to do against our defense last year, you could do it. And this year we actually have a good defense. So, I mean, it may not be an elite defense, but it's a pretty good defense.
Well, I would be concerned that Michigan would be out physical then what is the right word?
Yeah.
Being more physical on the line.
They were.
And winning the line
and that's
again
the
this
thing.
year. I don't have confidence.
The thing. Like Oregon, when they beat Ohio State, they out-finessed the Ohio State defense. You can see they just out-schemed them. Like with Michigan, they were just bowling them over. They were just like Ohio State knew exactly what was coming, and they just couldn't stop it. So we're hoping that happens.
We also didn't have a defensive coordinator last year.
That's true. The coaching was really bad last year. They had good recruits, but it's not great coaching. Is there anything that you need to see out of Michigan this weekend other than not people being hurt? That was a good question because I got an award or a buzzer for that.
No injuries, please.
Just no injuries. What is that?
What is what?
Good question.
The beeping and electronic sound effects.
I'm using my son's gaming.
I was hoping you guys didn't notice. I had my Bluetooth
Were you playing a game on the side?
No, I had my Bluetooth speaker, and the Bluetooth speaker was playing our voices. So my computer
got up and left to get a drink, and now you're playing video games while you're talking to us.
First of all,
I'll tell you what. I'm going to make you wait at least another week before we invite you.
Can I interject about something non-football related that's been bothering me the whole time? Why does Matt have 4 degrees up on the wall when he clearly does not have 4 degrees in real life? Is that some flex, like some intellectual flex you're doing for this?
Those aren't even all mine. Those 2 of those are Shahana.
Yeah, but you would like the audience to think they all are yours.
It's what? It's a good background. It gives him a little bit more.
Do you think I have anything to do with decoration in this house, Diego?
That's a good point. And
if it was up to me, they'd still be in the storage somewhere. I mean, come on.
One other point. Physical is not a gerund. So yes, you were correct that physicaling is not a word.
I know it's not a word. I was trying to use a cliched made up word these announcers use, but I had to go back. I had to go back to proper grammatical, use of the word. I just couldn't do it.
No, I knew you knew it was wrong, but I was trying to think of why it was wrong, and it's because it's not a gerund. I think.
Okay, well, we will do a Nate next time on your podcast. Make sure we do diagramming sentences from Diego. You can get a board, and we can just draw them up there.
We'll make sure and promote that before
the
show.
Let's do a grammar podcast.
Knows that we're going to talk about grammar during the show. Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. Let's wrap this up. I think this has been good. I'm really happy that we all got together and we were able to do this, and we were able to talk about Maryland football for at least a half the time.
I can't wait to hear this. I cannot wait to read the comments. I guarantee people check out Maryland 5 minutes football.
In.
It's important.
It's
important though.
I bought some Christmas gifts while he was talking. I'll tell you the truth right now. I went on and we bought a couple Christmas gifts while he was talking about Maryland.
Very nice.
So for our next episode post game, we will have some pictures or videos that we can add into this from the victory
over Maryland.
Over Maryland, yes.
So very good.
Because you guys are going, right? You guys are going this weekend. Very cool.
We're going to the game. We'll have
send
pictures.
us some pictures on the text group here.
We'll have pictures from Looney's. It's the big bar at Maryland that
listen, dude, nobody cares about anything about Maryland. I'm telling you right now. Like nobody cares.
You're gonna love our pictures. You're gonna love
I will love the pictures, but anybody listening to this doesn't care.
The audience is gonna love the pictures. We have a cool ass stadium for 55,000 person stadium. It's freaking money. I'm serious.
You go, buddy. Nice work.
Well, it's not some ugly ass 100,000 person stadium with no character whatsoever, like fucking Ohio State or Michigan.
Somebody's already half in the bag.
No character. Okay.
I love it.
I don't go to either
I'm ending
school.
this. I'm ending
Please,
this.
God, help me. Please, God.
See you next time.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys. Go Blue.
Later.
Yarp, yarp.